Hi, I'm Rachael D'Aguiar. Welcome to The Truth About Aging. Today I wanted to talk to you about pigmentation because I feel there's so much information going around about the causes of pigmentation, and I want to really simplify it for you because there really only is one cause for pigmentation, and all the other things that people are bombarding you with are actually the triggers that cause pigmentation. So let me break that down with you. Some of the triggers that cause pigmentation can be hormonal changes, medications, trauma to the skin, and definitely the sun. But the only cause for pigmentation is when your melanocytes go haywire. You can see here the action of the melanocyte is to release melanin to the surface of the skin when it's needed to help block UV rays. So when your melanocyte goes haywire, it kind of spews pigment onto the surface of your face. It releases melanin for no reason. It gets, well, or for a myriad of reasons, but it gets out of control. And that is the cause of that pigmentation that you see, a haywire melanocyte. So when you're treating pigmentation, I find that most people just treat one thing, which is the visible symptom of it, which is the actual pigment. But you've got to treat your pigmentation twofold. So firstly, yeah, you do need to get rid of the visible pigmentation on the surface of your skin, but I find that that's where most people stop. But the best way to do that is to remove it with a gentle enzymatic exfoliation. And when I say enzymatic, I mean a chemical exfoliation, one that digests cells rather than scrubs and is abrasive and causes inflammation on the skin, just in case that sends your melanocytes haywire again and you get a bit more pigmentation if you're susceptible to that. So a gentle enzymatic exfoliation, now 2 to 3 times a week, is sufficient, ample actually. I'll tell you this, nearly every single person that's come to me wanting me to look at their pigmentation and to help them with it has got really thin, sensitive skin. Now, not because they began with thin, sensitive skin, but because they have really focused on exfoliation and they have sensitized and aged and thinned their skin by just over exfoliation. That's all that they've focused on, just getting rid of that visible sign. But do you know what? You've got to focus on the cause of the pigmentation and really go in heavy with your guns to get rid of the cause of the pigmentation too. So remembering that you've got to treat the cause of your pigmentation, the melanocytes going haywire, there's 2 ways that I would recommend that you do that. The first way, get yourself some new melanocytes. Now, I'm not actually joking. Microneedling is a really great way to do this. You just need to treat at a really shallow setting, which is excellent if you're not very good with pain, because that's where the melanocytes are. They sit really close to the surface of the skin. So if you do a shallow microneedling treatment, and essentially it's controlled damage to the melanocytes, and how they react is by making new melanocytes, which might sound like a bad thing, but stick with me here. When they give birth to new melanocytes, they're hopefully not going to be crazy because they're new and fresh. And when you have enough new, fresh, non-crazy melanocytes, they're going to kick out the old melanocytes, which are the ones causing havoc. So, not even taking the mickey, if your melanocytes have gone haywire, get yourself some new ones. And microneedling at a shallow depth is a really excellent way to do that. Another way, or that, it doesn't have to be an and or, you can get yourself some new melanocytes and you can stop the ones that have gone haywire by turning them into well-behaved melanocytes. So if you've heard me talk before, you've heard me talk about critically short telomeres. Now, when your cells have critically short telomeres, the cell doesn't function. It can't produce abundant collagen or elastin. It can become really sensitive, and your melanocytes can go haywire and start that process of spewing pigment onto the surface of your skin. So if you want that cell, including the melanocyte, to behave again, you've got to stop it being a critically short telomere. The only way to do that is by re-lengthening that telomere so that that cell behaves like a younger cell again. So this is the exact reason why when people use the world's strongest telomerase activator, TAM818, and it's touted as an anti-aging ingredient. So people just think of wrinkles and lifting, which is marvelous. But so many people have been surprised at the effect that it's had on their pigmentation. And it's because pigmentation is an aging issue. I'll say it again, pigmentation is an aging issue. If you've got a cell that doesn't have critically short telomeres, chances are that your melanocytes are going to be behaving themselves. So a really easy way to do that is by using any of the One Truth 818 products with TAM818 in there, so that you can re-lengthen your telomeres and stop those telomeres being critically short. Those melanocytes can't cause havoc if their cell is under control. Now, I touched on pigmentation caused from a hormonal issue. Now, in terms of getting rid of the cause, this can be a little bit more challenging. So I do suggest that you go and see your functional doctor or your favorite health practitioner for help with that one. Sometimes it's easier because the hormonal imbalance is caused by something like pregnancy, which you're not in eternally. You know, your pregnancy has finished, but you're left with that pigmentation. So regardless of how the pigmentation got there, I still suggest that you need to attack it twofold. Firstly, by gently removing the visible signs of the pigmentation with that enzymatic exfoliation. And secondly, you know, just as importantly, you can't do it without this, but by tackling the cause, which is your melanocyte gone haywire. So even though your hormones have been your trigger, the cause is still a haywire melanocyte. So that hormonal pigmentation that you're dealing with, everything I'm saying here is still applicable to you. You still need to follow those steps. Now, I'm going to talk about SPF because I feel this is really misunderstood. Often I have people coming to me saying, I'm really working on tackling my pigmentation. And the first question I ask them is, have you been using a sunscreen? More often than not, they're like, should I? Which just tells me that it's not really a very understood topic. Look, the reason that your melanin is there in the first place is because it's your natural sun protection factor. It's a tan. So a tan isn't something that just happens in summer to make you look sexy. It's because the sun's rays are really violating your skin, and your skin is there to protect all of your vital organs. It doesn't want UV rays coming into it. So your melanin jumps to the surface to protect your internal organs and you from those sun's rays. So that is the job of melanin. So if you're trying to tackle a pigmentation problem and you keep allowing that response to happen, you're going to be taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Even if the pigmentation is hormonal and it's not, or through medication or trauma, and it's not there from sun in the first place, you're still going to be taking a step back because you're allowing that melanin to come and deposit into the surface of your skin. So it is so important that you use an SPF or that you cover up. Watch my clip and my episode on SPF and how to do that if you need some tips. But if you're tackling pigmentation, no matter what the trigger was, you really need to be using an SPF every time you go outside. So just to recap all of that for you, no matter what triggered your pigmentation, the things that for years people have been telling you is the cause of pigmentation, no matter what triggered it, the cause of your pigmentation are your melanocytes going haywire. You can fix those by getting new melanocytes or by fixing the ones that you've got by re-lengthening the telomeres. And all at the same time, adjacent to this, you can be gently removing the pigment that already has been deposited on the surface of your skin. And you're going to be using an SPF every time you go outside so that you're not taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please, if you have any questions about anything that I've said today or any comments that you'd like to make to me, connect with me through our website, www.onetruth818, the numbers 818.com. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you next time on The Truth About Aging.